Hey guys, welcome back. Behavior Strategies for Class here. This is where we empower educators with effective behavior strategies that work so you can teach. So if you are struggling with your students' behavior and you need some effective, evidence-based, trauma-informed strategies, you are in the right place. So today we're talking about language as intervention. Because every word you speak carries weight, sculpting your students' sense of self, safety, possibilities. And as you are learning in trauma-informed classrooms, language is more than instruction. It actually becomes intervention. So when you choose words that affirm, redirect with care, and invite reflection, you are creating classrooms where students don't just learn, they heal and grow and belong. And when they heal, grow, and belong, their desire to learn is engaged. And so they are ready. So today we're going to talk about 4 areas where you can be intentional and make a difference with your words. So listen in. Welcome to Behavior Strategies for Class. I am Diane Bachman, your behavior paraprofessional with over 15 years of experience working in special education. And I'm so glad you're here because I'll be teaching you about social emotional learning, behavior strategies, trauma-informed care, and more. So if you are tired of being frustrated and not knowing what to do with your students who have challenging and disruptive behavior, you're in the right place. Now, if you're ready to become more equipped to help your students learn and grow, let's listen in to today's episode. So before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button and share this episode, this podcast with other educators so that we can continue to grow more trauma-informed classrooms. So my behavior boost this week is truly using that calm voice and validating your students when they are escalated. So I was working with a student this week, and he became upset because he's sad. He misses a parent, and, he did some work, but then he was done. And so in his sadness, he decided to start knocking things off of desk, throwing some things around in the classroom. And all the while, I was just giving quiet reminders of what he could do instead of the destructive behavior he was doing. He finally was able to sit down for a few minutes, and we were able to talk. And I'm just sad. I really miss my parent, and I really want to talk to them right now. I really want to go see them right now. And it's like, you know what? I understand. It's hard when we miss our family. And, I try and relate with him. I know it's kind of hard for him to really relate because, when they're still kind of escalated, they're still just focused on themselves and how they feel. And that's okay. But I just wanted him to know, I miss some of my family at times too. But being able to process and go through, it's okay to be sad, but again, it's not okay for you to destroy things and throw things across the room. Continuing to use your words and expressing them is okay. And I know you're sad, but we still have to do our learning while we're at school. So it was just a constant reminder, I understand. So we're still validating how he feels. And then just continuing to use that calm voice, keeping the expectations, but in a calm way. So I'm not offering all kinds of threats, or consequences, punishments per se. but just reminders, okay, you're going to need to sit for a few minutes. We set a timer and we show him the timer. It takes him a while to get there. But again, we're holding those expectations in place. And when he finally is calm, he just finally is like, okay, then he sits and then we let the timer go and then we can process with him. So now he's calm. He has a calm body. He has a calmer voice. And then we can continue to have the conversation. Well, I'm just really sad. Okay. So just constantly using the calm voice, keeping that expectation, validating how they feel. And we were able to process through all of this in a much shorter time. Now, I know there's definitely times when our patience is thin. We really don't want to deal with, their outbursts or their emotional dysregulation. But it's really continuing to teach, continuing to show them, like, it's okay to have these feelings. It's okay that you're feeling this way. However, it's not okay to destroy things. It's not okay to hurt people. And just constantly showing them, like, you can do hard things. You can push through this. So that is my behavior boost for today. So we are talking about language as intervention. So some of that that I just shared in the behavior boost is using the language, like I said, validating, using that calm voice, reminding him he could do hard things. Like, it's okay to be sad, right? So this first area that you can be intentional with your words is through mindset and how you can set things up. So are you being encouraging or discouraging? And maybe you haven't really paid super close attention to that. And so I want to encourage you to truly think about how intentional are you in setting your students up for success. Now, I know, right, everybody's learning, so they're in the learning process. So don't assume that your student has these social skills or these emotional regulation skills. Just like, that would be cool, right? Just thinking out loud. If we could do a test, about their emotional intelligence, what do they understand social skills are? What do they understand to do when they get mad? What do they know to do when they're sad? Man, that would be super helpful, right? Because then you can really tailor your social emotional learning to where your students are. And that would be great. However, we do not have that yet. I don't know if they ever will, but so working on mindset. So growth mindset versus that fixed mindset, right? We want to encourage them to grow, to know, like, okay, that's the power of yet, right? I forget who does that. I don't know if that's Mel Robbins, Ed Milet. I can't remember who says the power of yet. If you guys remember, totally DM me and let me know. So it's, when they're learning, like they're writing, they're learning, how to write a paragraph. They're learning their math facts. They're learning math, multiplications, and, students are frustrated, like they can't get it right now. They're frustrated, and it's the power of yet. So when your students come up to you like, I can't get this, this is too hard, I don't understand it, you can let them know you don't understand it yet. That power of yet. It really is amazing. I have another student who struggles with reading. And so I just remind him, like, can't, like, that's a bad word. I can't read. And then I'll show him some paperwork and he's reading it. And I'm like, dude, you can read. This is reading. Can't. It's a bad word. Anyways, that's a side note. But are you being encouraging that growth mindset, or are you maybe unintentionally being discouraging? You're getting them in a fixed mindset. Like, well, you got this, you're smart enough to get this now, so you're good to go. We just need to stop and think, is this being encouraging? Am I encouraging a growth mindset? Because either way, your students are going to go that way that you're encouraging them. So growth-oriented language, so again, that power of yet, you're helping them perform academically better. And this shows resilience. So you're really building resilience as you give them that growth language as well, right? You're like, okay, well, I can't maybe do this right now or yet, but I'm working on doing this over here. I'm not at this level yet, but I'm working on this level over here. So I'm working my way to this level. So that is the growth language, right? That is the growth mindset. So another area that you can be intentional is in their behavior. So what wording are you saying here? Are you reminding them? Are you redirecting them? So when you do those things, you are helping your students self-correct. Because when we say, and I hear teachers all the time, is that really the best choice? Is that really the right person you should be sitting next to right now? Is that friend going to help you do your best work? Those are great because you're getting the students to think for themselves and self-correct. So when they realize, you know what, I'm sitting with my friend and we really do just want to talk, the teacher is right. Like, you're not going to help me do my best writing, so I'm going to move over here. So you're not constantly telling them what to do, right? You're getting them to think on their own and what their behavior could be. So what could be better? So just reminding them of those. And then you're constantly using, again, that calm, direct, respectful language. Because when you are calm and you're direct, you're clear and concise, you're respectful, you are building trust with your students. And when you have trust, you have connection. And when you have connection, you have more engagement from your students in their learning. So again, that tone of your voice really makes all the difference. And again, I'm not saying this is perfect and that you're not going to have those tough days where you do lose that calm voice. It's okay. But if you are being more intentional in using that calm voice, you're being very direct, you're giving those clear, concise expectations, you're being respectful, and again, reminding them, is that really the best choice? Should you be doing that right now? What should you be doing right now? So helping them stop and think for themselves, helping them self-correct their behavior, gives back that ownership to them, that responsibility, that accountability, which is huge. All of our students need that. So another area you can work on being intentional with your words is that emotional connection. So that emotional part where you are working together. So as a class, you're working together on a project, or you're working together to, I don't know, work on something. You are creating community there. And maybe that's not as a whole, but like when you break up into groups in your class and each group is working, say, on different parts of a project. Like we've had students like during history and they're working on different parts of that history period, like the miners and different events during that time. You are creating community, which creates belonging for your students. And that also gives them a sense of safety when they have that. Another way in which you can use your words intentionally with emotional intelligence is naming emotions. So that will ultimately improve their emotional intelligence. So when they are mad, you can say, well, are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you just really disappointed? Giving them a few extra adjectives that describe how they're feeling. Naming those emotions is improving their emotional intelligence so that they can express themselves. And it's great, like to hear our first graders say, you know what, this is way too loud in here. I am getting really frustrated right now and I think I need to come out. A lot of the times that's during the lunchtime in the cafeteria. Kids are having fun. Everybody's talking. It definitely gets loud in there. And sometimes that's really hard for some of our students. And so for them to be able to express that is like, okay, well, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, let's go sit over here and finish your lunch. So we definitely want to honor that when they are able to verbally express how they are feeling and that they have put a name to that emotion. And again, because you have created togetherness, community in your classroom, they feel safe in order to express that to you in the classroom, to let you know how they're feeling. That is super important. That's growth there too. So the fourth area that you can be intentional with your words is that academic piece, right? So it's those open-ended questions. So those examples I gave in the behavior area, asking them like, is that really the right choice you should be making right now? Where should you be? Giving those open-ended questions, again, getting them to think for themselves, to make the right choice, to make whatever choices they make, and knowing that there could be a consequence depending on what it is, right? So like, sometimes you can see students like getting ready to like knock somebody out, push them out of the way, give them a kick. You can say, oh, is that really the best choice right now? It's pretty cool, right? To watch their face and they turn and look at you like, I got caught. But it really does make them stop and think. It's like, yeah, you're right. It's not. And not that you gave them the answer per se, but you just allowed them to stop and process before that behavior happened. And that is a great growth for your students. So when you ask these open-ended questions, you're fostering that deeper thinking. Like I said, you're making them stop and think for themselves. And then when you offer constructive feedback, you're boosting motivation, right? That motivates them to want to do better, right? We don't want to discourage them as much as possible, right? You are not always going to say the right thing at the exact right time, right? We are all human. We make mistakes as well. But to give constructive feedback, again, boosts motivation. So we want to encourage that, right? We want them to be motivated to do more, to do better. And so again, like if you're proofing your student's paragraph and instead of like marking it all in red and be like, here, just redo it. That doesn't really feel good. That's not really encouraging. Instead, you could say, okay, well, what other words could you add in here that would describe this situation better? Do you think you could add maybe some more detail about this area? So you're giving them some constructive feedback. You're not telling them what to do. You're helping them to think on their own, but it's constructive. So they're going to take that paper and go back to their desk and really do some deeper thinking. And it's so awesome to see students really embrace that because they're so amazing and they have great imaginations. And just a reminder, I'm in elementary school, so I feel like that excitement may be more so than when you're in middle and high school. I don't know. But it's great to see in elementary school and like the 4th and 5th graders, especially when they're doing a lot more writing, to see them be creative and really learn how to express themselves. It's really great to see. So giving that constructive feedback really boosts that motivation, gets them to do that deeper thinking when you ask those open-ended questions. So I challenge you, which area are you going to be more intentional with your words with your students? Is it in the mindset? Are you going to have more intentional words around growth mindset, using that language? Is it going to be in behavior, in reminding, redirecting your students, that calm tone of voice? Or maybe is it in the emotional area where you're continuing to have your students work together, create that community? Growing that emotional intelligence, having them learn to name the emotion that they're feeling or that maybe their friend may be feeling. And then 4th is in the academics. Are you asking those open-ended questions? Are you fostering that deeper thinking? Are you using constructive feedback? Which area are you going to be more intentional with your words, with your students? So I want to leave you with a quote. And this quote, if you don't mind, is coming from the Bible. And surprisingly, the Bible talks a lot about our words and how our words need to be encouraging, uplifting, truthful, honest, loving. And so this quote says, words matter. Well, that's not actually the verse, but the verse is about death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who live by it will eat its fruit. So you want to be speaking life into your students. Speaking life to encourage them, to motivate them, to have a growth mindset in all areas of their life. This verse, by the way, was found in Proverbs 18, verse 21. And as most of you know, if you've been listening for a while, I am a Christian, a believer in God's word. And so it truly is powerful. And so I just thought this verse was fitting today, talking about our words and how they can become intervention in motivating students, in encouraging students, that growth mindset, and how your words affect their behavior, their emotional well-being, and their academic growth as well. So again, I encourage you, which area, and challenge you to which area are you going to be more intentional with your words? Because your language is intervention. Now, don't forget to check out the show notes. There is a link in there where you can download a free guide for emotional regulation strategies. So I am switching all of my online stuff to Kajabi. I've been with a few other different platforms. I've had bits and pieces of my business in different areas. And so I finally have decided to switch over to Kajabi because everything is there, from website to sales to marketing to products, emails, all of that is in one place. So I am on Kajabi. This sign up for the free download is through Kajabi. And so I just wanted you to know, I'm hoping this will be my last move with all of this stuff, because Kajabi allows you to grow with them. So I'm excited to make that change. But again, language is intervention. Be more intentional with your words, because they can tear down or they can build up. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And if I have encouraged you, motivated you to continue to learn, to support your students, even better, to help them strive in your classroom, please leave a review, hit that subscribe button so that others can see they can learn and grow here as well. Thank you.